Meanwhile, on the battlefront, Israel has amassed over 300,000 reserve forces and tanks near the border, while Hamas militants have killed 1,300 Israelis. Over 1,500 have died in Gaza in retaliatory strikes. On the battlefront, both the sides continue to engage in warfare. On Friday, multiple rockets were launched from Gaza into Israeli territory. Over 3,200 have been injured in Israel. On the Gaza Strip, the situation remains dire. United Nations Food Programme says crucial supplies have been running dangerously low in the city. It could soon run out of food, water and medicines. The only power plant has already stopped working. More than 6,000 have been wounded in the region. Israeli tanks from the south could be seen firing into Gaza, while Israeli warplanes continue to pound the region. Now, with regard to the hostage crisis, as Israel says, over 150 hostages remain with militants. Hamas says at least 13 of those Israeli and foreign national hostages have been killed in the past 24 hours. Hamas had earlier warned that every target of its people without warning in Gaza will be met with an execution of one civilian hostage. And as the war escalates, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is facing heat at the domestic front. Recent polls show Israelis blame Prime Minister Netanyahu for the Hamas incursion into Israeli territory and the brutal attack. And our correspondent Jody Cohen is now joining us from Israel for the very latest on this. And Jody, what's happening on the ground at the moment?
So in the latest, a barrage of rockets have been fired from Hamas in Gaza into southern and central Israel. Israel, meanwhile, has warned the Palestinians in northern Gaza to move to southern Gaza, and Hamas has told civilians there not to listen, calling it fake news. We know that Hamas uses civilians as human shields and are reportedly not letting some leave, although there are reports that up to 400,000 Gazans may have already left. Now, Israel is doing what it can, it says, to save Palestinian lives while trying to defeat Hamas, who are hiding in tunnels, they say, that they built under residential buildings. Israel is expected to launch a ground offensive potentially on Saturday. And remember, this all comes after thousands of rockets and thousands of Hamas terrorists came across the border into southern Israel on Saturday. Last Saturday, that will have been 1 week later. And 1,300 Israelis, mostly civilians, were killed in that one day. Now, Hamas has been compared to ISIS. There are thought to be potentially up to 200 people being taken hostage by Hamas, mostly Israelis, but others coming from 30 different countries. And Hezbollah has now said that it is ready to act when the time is right to join in and support Hamas.
Right. And Jody, what about the evacuations in more detail? There are several differences on that and appeals from foreign nations to, at least give a larger window for that evacuation.
In terms of what to expect going forwards, I think the warning was given by Israel to the Gazan civilians to move to safer ground just before midnight last night. They said that they were giving a 24-hour warning, so we can expect potentially something to happen after midnight on Friday night, perhaps in the early hours of Saturday. Now, we also know that Israel has got its defense forces on the border with Gaza in the south, and also in response to those rockets on the border with southern Lebanon because of the fire that's coming from Hezbollah there too. And we know that there are countries around the world who are trying to put pressure on Hezbollah not to join in the fighting as well.